In the quiet outskirts of Izayama, where dusty roads curved around small mud houses, lived a young woman named Mercy. Mercy had not always been blind, but life had turned sharply one night years ago, leaving her world covered in darkness. And yet, she kept moving, carried by a strength she never knew she had. Within her tiny room, built with worn bricks and a rusted zinc roof, Mercy raised her little daughter, Mary, a bright and cheerful 2-year-old who loved to hum songs even when there was no music. Mary had become Mercy's eyes, her tiny hands guiding her from stool to water pot, from doorway to firewood. But behind Mercy's quiet smile was a story deeply soaked in pain. During a vulnerable moment in her life, when she could barely see and could barely feed herself, an unknown man took advantage of her situation. It was a moment Mercy never wished to remember, one she wrapped in silence, telling no one but God. Months later, she discovered she was carrying a child. People whispered. Some pitied her. Some judged her. But Mercy held her belly and said softly, "This child is innocent. She is not my pain, she is my gift." And so she carried baby Mary into the world single-handedly, through tears, hunger, long nights and unanswered prayers. Life did not soften because she had a child. Every morning, Mercy held a small wooden bowl and sat outside the village church, asking for help, not out of shame, but out of survival. "Please. Anything to feed my baby," she would say softly. Some walked past her. Some pretended not to hear. But many others, moved by her gentleness, always returned, bringing rice, beans, small loaves of bread, or even baby clothes for Mary. The community began to love her. Not for her condition, but for her spirit. Mercy never complained, never cursed life, never blamed God. She only prayed. "Lord, if joy still exists anywhere, let it find my daughter." Years passed. Mary grew, her tiny fingers now strong enough to pull Mercy carefully through the village paths. Then one afternoon, Mercy heard a voice she had never heard before, calm, warm, and filled with such kindness that even the air around her seemed to listen. "Good afternoon, madam," the voice said. "My name is Andrew. Please, let me help you." He was tall, gentle, and carried the softness of a man raised by compassion. He would buy food for them, help repair her leaking roof, and walk them home whenever the clouds looked angry. Soon, he became part of their days. Mary called him Uncle Andrew. But Mercy, quietly, began to call him her miracle. One evening, Andrew knelt before her and said in a trembling voice, "Mercy. Let me take care of you both. Let me be the father Mary deserves." Mercy's heart melted like candle wax. She had never known love like this, pure, patient, kind. With Andrew's support, Mercy was taken to a specialist hospital. The doctors examined her and said there was hope, she could regain her sight through surgery. The night before the operation, Mercy held Mary close and whispered, "My child. If I see again, the first face I want to behold is yours." The surgery began. Hours passed. Andrew sat outside clutching his hands, praying silently. Then the door opened. The doctor smiled. It was successful. When Mercy opened her eyes, the world flooded back, light, shapes, colors. Her breath broke in a sob. "Mary. Come," she whispered. The tiny girl rushed into her arms. Mercy stared at her daughter for the first time, her bright eyes, her full cheeks, her joyful smile. "You're beautiful," Mercy cried. "My sunshine. My miracle." Andrew stepped closer, unsure. "And you?" Mercy said, looking up at him, tears streaming. "You are the answer to prayers I prayed in darkness." He knelt beside her. She touched his face gently, tracing the kindness she had only heard before. From that day, Mercy's life changed. The woman who once lived in darkness now woke up to mornings filled with laughter, warmth, and hope. Mary had a father. Mercy had a partner. And Andrew had two treasures to love forever. People in the village often said, Mercy found mercy in the eyes of God. And indeed, she did.